Kia ora te whānau. I guess I just wanted to share a little bit of insight into my story and what it means to be Maori in Aotearoa. And I guess growing up in New Zealand, you have these stereotypes or you have these preconceived thoughts of who you are growing up. So oftentimes people would sort of see you as this snotty-nosed Maori kid that's coming to steal whatever, that's up to no good. I guess slowly as you are raised with these stereotypes or these preconceived thoughts, you kind of start to believe them. You get sort of used to this feeling of people judging you or people, putting these stereotypes on you. I guess as a boy or as someone who's growing up through that and asking my parents, why do people think of us that way, or why is it that they have these thoughts? And of course the answer that always comes back is, don't worry about it, that's what they've always thought, that's just normal. And so growing up throughout my teens and young adult years with these same things, these same stereotypes, these same preconceived thoughts, leaves you with this of like, oh man, if this is all it is to be a Maori, is that I would be judged because of this, or that these preconceived thoughts of me, if that is it, then man, I don't want to be a Maori. I went to a hospice or op shop to drop off some stuff, and I told the lady I was there to drop off some stuff. She told me to go around the back where the shed was, and they'll open the shed so I can put the stuff in there. And they must have forgotten. I could see a car driving back and forth on the road, and I could see he was like looking at me, and he pulls up behind my car, takes a photo of my number plate, and I jump out of the car and he's recording me the whole time. And he's like, what are you doing? And I'm just like, well, I'm dropping off some stuff here. They told me to wait by the shed. And he's just like, well, you can't be here, you need to come back tomorrow. And I was like, whatever then. And so it made me feel angry, and like he was insinuating that I was there to steal something or to take something. And so it left me with like this massive anger and frustration, and I just give up, I just quit. I guess what's hard for being a Maori here in Aotearoa is that we live in a country that is predominantly white. That Maori culture, I guess, is only represented on the marae or in a Maori sort of setting, but everywhere else is almost foreign or almost uncomfortable to me. Whereas if I stood on a marae, I can stand firm, I can stand strong, because I know that's who I am and I know that's where I belong. That's where I feel safe. But I guess coming into my adult years, I am, having this confidence of knowing who I am as a Maori, but knowing who I am in Christ as well. And knowing that God has created these cultures that we have to best reflect Him, to worship Him in different ways, to see the world and to see people in different ways, to see God in different ways. That's what it means to live in the Maori lands, to live in the world of Te Ao Māori. My nan, who I love so dearly, had to struggle with this, I guess, form of getting her identity beaten out of her. Growing up in an era where you weren't allowed to speak Māori in schools, where you weren't allowed to speak Māori in public areas. If you were to speak Māori, you could only speak it at homes, and you would be beaten for that. So you would be beaten for practicing who you are. And oftentimes when we hear those stories of what's happened back then, we sort of be like, man, that sucked for back then. But it is actually happening today as well. And we all have to sit with that. We all have to confront that there is oppression and there are things that we need to deal with that is happening still even to this day. Even to today, my nan, whose first language is Maori, only speaks English. And when she gets the opportunity or chance to speak in her native tongue, it's like she's a new person. It's like something comes alive in her, but yet when she speaks English, it's almost like she's gone back to being imprisoned. The main goal I guess, is that we want to sit with this. Is that we want to sit with this hurt, this heartache, this ugliness that is happening. Not only that is distant history, but it's now. And so how can we sit with that? How can we deal with that? How can we reflect on our own lives? And where are some things that we may have preconceived thoughts about Māori, but also how can we cross the bridge over into a Māori world where we don't feel comfortable, but just be there to understand, to be there to sit with that hurt, to be there to empathize, to just be there. But let's leave our comfortable places. Let's leave our comfortable feelings behind for the sake of other people, so that others will know who they are in Christ, so that others would know who they are as a Māori.